be recorded.
Steve Clevenger,
Present.
Gary Schroeder,
Present.
Michelle Dennis,
Present.
Ed Butts. I've seen him.
Present.
Tom Andrew,
Present.
Frank Donaldson,
Present.
Jen Decker. Jen Decker. All right, we have a quorum. We have a quorum present. And the first order of business is election of officers. And I would like to ask for any nominations for president.
I move to nominate Steve Clevenger for president.
Is there a second?
I second.
I'd like to take a voice vote, please. A roll call vote, please.
How about, I got one more motion yet. I move that
Yes, sir.
nominations for vice president be closed.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Is there a motion for a unanimous ballot?
I move to cast a unanimous ballot for Steve Clevenger for president.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
And all those in favor of casting a unanimous ballot for Steve Clevenger for president, please signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? May the record reflect it's a unanimous vote in favor of a unanimous ballot for Steve Clevenger for president. And Mr. Clevenger, the gavel is yours.
Thank you. I will now take motions for the nominations for the office of vice president.
I move that Gary Schroeder be nominated for vice president.
I second.
I move that nominations for vice president be closed. Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
By saying aye. Aye. Opposed? That motion carries.
I move to cast a unanimous ballot for Gary Schroeder for vice president. I
Second. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Welcome as vice president, Gary.
Thank you.
I will now take nominations for secretary.
I move that Eric Burns be nominated for secretary. Second. I move that nominations for secretary be closed. Second.
All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries.
I move to cast a unanimous ballot for Eric Burns for secretary. Second.
All those in favor for the unanimous ballot for Eric Burns for secretary, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? That motion carries. Welcome, Mr. Burns, as our secretary and attorney.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Next item on the agenda is the approval of the minutes.
I move to approve the minutes from the December 2nd, 2020 Board of Zoning Appeals public hearing meeting as submitted. I second.
Any corrections or comments? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? That motion carries. New business.
Okay, BZA 2047 Design Team Sign Company LLC is being requested to be continued to the February 24th meeting by the petitioner. I believe this would be their first continuance. BZA 2048 is ready to be heard.
Thank you, Ryan. I will now take the public hearing motion.
I move that there be incorporated into the public hearing portion of each application to be heard this evening and to become part of the evidence at such hearing, the Unified Zoning Ordinance, the Unified Subdivision Ordinance, the Comprehensive Plan, the bylaws of the Area Board of Zoning Appeal, the application and all documents filed therewith, the staff report and recommendations on the applications to be heard this evening, and responses from checkpoint agencies.
I second.
Motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed? That motion carries. And I will take the continuance, please.
Okay, I move to, where is it? I move to continue BZA 2047 Design Team Sign Company LLC to the February 24th, 2021 BZA meeting.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? That motion carries. If anyone is here for the design team sign company, that's McAllister's on the west side where the MCO cafeteria was, that will be heard at our next meeting on February 24th. I would like to briefly go through our procedures for the meeting. Each case will be heard following a motion and a second from the board. We'll ask the staff to report on its findings. Following the staff report, we'll ask the petitioner to present his or her case, after which anyone wishing to support the petitioner's request for variance or special exception will be asked to come forward. After hearing from the petitioner and those speaking on his or her behalf, we will ask those speaking against the petition to present their arguments. The petitioner will then be allowed to rebut arguments raised by those in opposition to his or her petition. Following the rebuttal, the board may wish to ask questions of the petitioner, supporters, and opponents of the petition or of the staff. The staff have the opportunity at this time to make any necessary clarifying comments. We will then vote by use of a prescribed ballot. 4 votes are necessary to make any decision. In the absence of 4 votes, either for or against, the petition is automatically continued to the next meeting. Please observe the following guidelines for the sake of time and fairness to all. State your name and address for the record before you speak. Limit your remarks to 5 minutes or less. Do not repeat arguments that have been brought up by others. Remember that all visual aids used to support your arguments will remain the property of the board. Cell phones must be turned off while the meeting is in session. Please step out of the room before using your cell phone. And before we hear the next case, I'm assuming it is streaming on social media, and we will pause for a minute to take comments from the public. But it's a good idea if you do have questions or comments to go ahead and type them in before we finish the case.
And we are streaming on both Facebook and YouTube at this time.
Thank you. And is anyone in the Tippecanoe room?
Presently, no.
Presently, no? Okay, thank you. And I will take a motion to hear our first and only case for the evening.
I move to hear and vote on BZA 2048 Jim Haybaker, petitioners requesting a special exception to allow motor freight transportation and warehousing, SIC code 42, in miscellaneous repair shop, SIC 76, in an agricultural zone. The hours of operation would be from 7:30 a.m. to 5 p.m. Monday through Friday. The property is located at 8240 East, 300 North. It's in Perry Township, 03 Southwest, 23-3, UZO 3-2.
I second.
Have a motion and a second, and we'll hear from staff, please.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome, Michelle and Eric, to our team. The site that you see in front of you is zone agricultural, and as you can see, most of the surrounding land is also zone agricultural. There is a floodplain zoning farther south, associated with Wildcat Creek. There are some residential lots, although it's not zoned residentially. They are used as a residential lots. There is East Tip Middle and Hershey's Elementary schools right over there. Let me go to another slide here. Oops. All right, so this is a close-up of the aerial of the site. The site actually is, it is a parent tract, 80-acre parent tract, and currently it has a single-family dwelling unit with a detached garage, a barn, and a repair shop. The current use of the site is primarily agricultural. So they farm the site, and the front portion of the site is being used to park some trucks that they use to transfer produce from the farming site to the processing site. The main thoroughfare here is 300 North, which is paved 2-lane, and based on our research, it has approximately 1,250 vehicles travel that road every day. According to the, so this is the close-up view where you can see location of different structure on the site: residential, garage, house garage, pole barn, well, a shed for a repair shop, and that is the location of the proposed new building for the use. So this is the site plan that was submitted with the petition. As you can see, because they're requesting 2 different uses, the parking standard were, 2 different parking standards were used to calculate the required amount of parking. And based on what you see on the screen, they have sufficient parking for both uses. Parking in Ag Zone doesn't need to be paved. However, all the accessible parking does need to be paved, and they have total of 4 on site, which we have to make sure that it's paved when the permits are issued. The site currently does have a residential septic and well. Any commercial septic will be reviewed by the health department when they come in for the permits. The site currently, like I said, is used for agricultural activities, and it is operated by Hoffman and Hawbaker Farms. The request primarily is to expand their trucking company business. So Jim started this trucking company business in 2013 as a tribute to his late father. And this business has been growing since then. So now he's interested in expanding that business at this location. He also has a repair shop, which he uses to repair his own farming equipment and tractors. And he has occasionally extended his services to customers, which he foresees expanding in the future as well. So this request would allow him to extend some of the services he's currently using, or at least currently applying to his own equipments to the other farmers or customers as he wishes in the future. Agriculture uses and their accessory functions, including semi-trucks to transfer crops from a farming location to processing sites, are permitted by right in ag. The scale of the current project, as Jim has explained to us, may not have negative impact in the general vicinity, because as you saw from the aerial, most of the use surrounding this site is either residential or agricultural production. However, staff is concerned about the compatibility of this business if it expands exponentially at this location with some of the existing uses around it. Staff recommends limiting the number of semi-trucks on site by allowing the parking of trucks only in a dedicated area. So right now, the site plan doesn't show dedicated truck parking area. However, the petitioner came in today and provided us with a revised site plan showing dedicated truck areas, which I will point with my pointer here. This is the general area where he has proposed parking trucks, and there are a few more around here for a total of approximately 15 trucks. Let's see. Okay, going back one slide. As you can see here, the site also has a dwelling unit, as I mentioned earlier. And the site, because the site has a residential unit and it's not on a separate lot, we are requesting petitioner to file a commitment that would allow this residential use to be only for a caretaker's residence, which will then eliminate multiple uses being on one tract, or a multiple use structure being on one tract. At his meeting on January 6th, 2021, Executive Committee of the Area Plan Commission voted that granting this request would not substantially adversely affect the comprehensive plan, and it is staff's opinion that Section 3.1 of the Unified Zoning Ordinance does authorize a special exception for motor freight transportation and miscellaneous repair businesses in the agricultural zoning district. The requirements and the development standards for the requested use as prescribed by the Unified Zoning Ordinance will be met. There is sufficient area to park employees' vehicles on site for both uses. Granting this special exception will not subvert the general purposes served by the ordinance as long as the conditions are met to better protect existing rural land uses. Granting special exception will not materially and permanently injure other property or uses in the same district and vicinity in regard to traffic generation. If the proposed commercial driveway, which would be those two on the screen, is approved by the county highway, it'll be much safer than having trucks use the existing residential driveway. The number of semi-trailers on site would be limited to an area indicated in the site plan. Concerning placement of outdoor lighting, only LED lights over each walk-in door and floodlights facing the storage barn will be installed on the buildings. In regard to noise production, staff is not concerned about the disturbance due to truck noise because the nearest residence is over 600 feet to the south across County Road 300 North. The noise generated from truck traffic on 300 North, a rural secondary arterial, is common. Concerning hours of operation, although semi-trucks would return to the site 24 hours a day, majority of truck traffic would be during business hours, which is 7:30 a.m. to 5 p.m. Staff is recommending approval with the following conditions and commitment. Location of the truck parking area must be delineated on the site plan, and no trucks parked overnight shall be located anywhere except the designated parking area. A commercial permit from Tippecanoe County Highway Department must be submitted to the APC staff. A commitment shall be filed with the staff in a recordable format to limit the future use of the dwelling unit on site to be a caretaker's residence only. Like I mentioned earlier, condition number 1 has been fulfilled, and I'll be happy to answer any question you may have. And I believe Jim is on the phone call to answer any other questions you may have.
Okay, before I call on the petitioner, I believe we need a motion because I don't believe it doesn't look like it was read into the motion to require the conditions and the commitment.
That's
Okay,
correct.
to modify my motion to hear and vote on BZA 2048, that would be with, was that a commitment or conditions?
With
It's both.
conditions and commitment.
With conditions and commitment.
Second.
And do we need to vote on including that, or is that just part of, okay, that's part of our motion then when we actually vote. And Mr. Hawbaker, if you would like to present your case.
Yeah,
So
can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, Jim Hallbaker here. Yeah, I'd say Rabita done a fine job. This is kind of a new thing for me. You know, I went down to get a building permit to build, you know, my barn with offices in the front of it, and the building commission or the building permit office thought it would be best if I went for a commercial use. I was planning on just getting a farm use. So kind of, I mean, it's kind of been a journey as Rabita's done very well helping me work through it and, you know, get everything in order. And I think we do. The repair shop, I did want to comment on that, you know, that what we do there, we do most of our own work. Occasionally a neighbor will stop through and need something welded or, you know, just something simple will help a neighbor out. So that's not, you know, I don't really plan on opening up a full blown, you know, like a road truck setting. So that's why we have the repair exemption in there, you know, just so, you know, something would happen, you know, we're covered under that. And as far as the trucking, you know, it's just something we started out small and it's kind of grown. We haul a lot of seed corn, a lot of our own products. We go, you know, I don't know if she commented, we have to grow tomatoes for Red Gold and processing things that go all over the East Coast. So, you know, in the fall season, all of our trucks basically are tied up with that. And then on the off season, we haul some seed corn and different things. So that's why we, you know, the transportation exemption, they felt it was best that we do a transportation exemption. So, I don't know that I have anything else. We live in a great community. I did talk to most of the neighbors and, they all, you know, none of them had a problem. They had some questions, but I guess I answered them, and I don't know if any of them's on now, but I would, you know, encourage them to express their feelings if they have any. So, yeah. Is there anything else? Do you have any questions for me?
We may have some in a minute for you. I'm assuming that there's nobody in the room, and we'll go ahead and while we're have any questions from the board, we'll go ahead and ask for any social media comments.
Yes, there is still no one in the room, and we presently have no comments on social media.
Okay. Any questions or comments from the board? And Jim, I'm assuming that you're fine with the conditions and the commitment.
Yeah, I mean, okay, another thing I did want to comment. I talked to Rabita today, and I talked to Mike Parks on the highway department earlier, and he gave me a verbal approval of what I wanted to do. But then after talking to Rabita today, I thought I'd better call him back and make sure everything was fine. And he said, well, since it's going into more of a commercial setting, you're going to have to talk to Barry Sullivan. So I emailed him today with my site plan and asked him if he would come out to the site and meet with me to go over what we needed to do and come in compliance. So that's where I'm at with the county highway department.
Okay.
And also on the, we'll comment on the septic. I did get approval for the barn that I thought I was building, you know, under an ag setting with a couple restrooms in it from the county health department. But I think that's probably going to have to get revised as far as, you know, I'll be in communication with them whenever we get our drawing done, whenever we get our engineer drawing done and the state approval.
Okay. I would think that's probably true. but that's really outside of our purview. Any other
Okay,
comments
yeah,
or
I'm just
questions?
explaining where we're at.
Yeah, no problem. Appreciate it. Any comments on social media? I'm sure it's been over a minute.
There are still no comments.
There are no questions from the board. We have a ballot.
I will say, you know, she pointed out the school to the west of us,
Okay.
and I did want to comment. Probably 2/3 to 3/4 of our trucks, when they leave here, I encourage them to go east to 900, and use 900 to connect with the Heartland, or go to 26 and out to 65, instead of going past the school and creating any potential issues. You know what I'm saying? It's a high traffic, high volume area around the school, so that is something that we try to be very careful with.
Okay. Well, thank you, and we'll go ahead and fill out our ballots. I did forget to remind everyone not to close their browser once you submit it. That way you can edit your response if needed.
All right, this is Eric Burns. It looks like we have 6 votes approving. And I'm going to call each of your names. And when I do so, would you please confirm your written ballot by saying approve if you do approve, or deny if you deny. So Steve Clevenger,
Approve.
Gary Schroeder,
Approve.
Michelle Dennis,
Approve.
Ed Butts. Approve. Tom Andrew,
Approve.
Frank Donaldson.
Approve.
6 all in favor approving.
Thank you, Mr. Burns. The special exception has been approved. And I would like at this time, since I did not at the beginning, to welcome Michelle Dennis to the board, taking Carl's place. He decided to enjoy his retirement. So welcome, Michelle.
Thank you. Thanks for having
And-
me.
Yep. And I'd also like to welcome Eric Burns as our new attorney. And I understand that Zach is off to do other things. So welcome as well.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it. I look forward to the opportunity to work with you all.
And Zach, we will miss you.
Yep, I'll
Thanks-
miss all you
thanks.
guys too.
Thanks for all your help over the last so many years.
Yep, it's been a blast working with you guys. I'm sorry I'm leaving, but you're in good hands, I can tell you that.
Good to hear. Do we have any, or let's say, unless any member has any objection, the chair will order the findings of each member casting a vote for the majority decision of the board to be the collective findings of the board in support of the decision of the board. Hearing none, it is so ordered. Any other administrative matters? Sorry.
Staff has none.
And it's my understanding also that as of yesterday that we will have a new executive director for the Area Plan Commission. I'm assuming it's appropriate to go ahead and say something that David Hiddle has been, or at least has been hired, and Sally is retiring. And I believe that there is a month, or I think it's through the end of March, I believe. I think he starts on March 1st, and then Sally will overlap the beginning of his term starting March 1st to the end of March, or for 4 weeks.
Right. Yeah, that's correct.
And it sounds like from the meeting yesterday that he is a good choice to lead the Area Plan Commission and Board of Zoning Appeals for Tippecanoe County. So appreciate those that are on the area plan that went through the process. You're on mute, Gary, if you're saying something. No. If there's nothing else, I would like to ask for the last motion.
Before I do, thanks Ryan, Robita, China, and we'll see everybody next month. I move to adjourn.
Okay. See you then.
Adjourn.
Good
Thank you,
night,
everybody.
everyone.
Thanks.
Yep, good night.
Good night.
Yeah.